I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Education and Culture Committee, and Councilor Garvin, would you offer the invocation?
Please stand. Father in heaven, creator of all things, we thank you for this opportunity to do work for our people. We ask now that you would bless each of us, bless our country, and Father, I want to pray for our military personnel all over the world. Pray for their well-being and pray for their return to this country real soon. Forgive us for our sins. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. We have roll call.
Julia Coates. Here. Don Garvin. Buell England.
Here.
Bill John Baker.
Here.
Jack Baker. Here. Jody Fishinghawk.
Here.
Janelle Fulbright. Here. Chuck Hoskin Jr.
Here.
Tina Glory Jordan.
Present.
Lee Keener. Dick Lay.
Here.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
David Thornton.
Here.
David Walkingstick.
Here.
Kara Callan Watts. Honey. We do have a forum.
Thank you. I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes from September 12th.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Councilor Baker?
Yes, if I could have a point of personal privilege, at this time I'd like to introduce the First Lady of the Cherokee Nation, Linda Creighton.
Thank you. Welcome. We have an act of new business today, which I anticipate is going to take some time for discussion. And in addition, we have a special rules committee meeting scheduled for 20 minutes from now. So I would like to ask, we have all of the reports in our books. I would like to ask if anybody has any questions on any of the reports at this time. And if they do, we'll look at those questions, and if not, we'll go ahead and move on to the new business. But are there any questions of any of the reports? Is your hand up, Councilor Snell? No. Oh, okay. Councilor Watson.
I had two questions. Well, no, I'll just go to, so one question, I guess to Secretary Knight, or to, excuse me, to Corey Bunch, the new group leader for education. Will you email us or send us something in writing more that details how we're going to roll out the online scholarship application process? Because I know there'll be lots of questions and confusion as we do change, but
Yes.
so that maybe we can anticipate and help answer some of those frontline questions, because you're already going to be inundated during that process.
Yes, we certainly will, and we'll also have some people out in the communities and the schools working with students, teachers, parents, and that type of thing. So we will send those to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Are there any other questions? Okay. Well, I want to thank everyone for presenting their reports to us, and I apologize for the short time frame today that we're not able to actually hear from you. But I appreciate your understanding, and we will look forward to hearing from you next month. Thank you. So there's no old business, and we have new business, an act establishing a scholarship program to aid Cherokee High School students that are concurrently enrolled in Oklahoma colleges. And Councilor Walkingstick, would you like to present this?
Yes, I would. Thanks. This is just it's a concurrent enrollment scholarship program that is designed to help out Cherokee students throughout the same coverage area of the higher education program, which is the United States. Okay. Currently, the Oklahoma Regents has their own guidelines and procedures on a student who is eligible to be concurrently enrolled. And the definition of concurrent enrollment is a junior or senior who is going to taking college credits, or is in college, and of course they got to have a 3.0 GPA or be in the upper half of their senior class, or have a 20 or over on your ACT. Okay. thing. Okay, some of the reason that I put this into in that was being a director of Indian education at Muskogee Schools. I have up to 5 Cherokee students that are in concurrent enrollment right now. They're ahead of the ball game. They're ahead of their credits. They're on course to graduate, and Oklahoma Regents pays full tuition for a senior to go and take concurrent enrollment, up to 6 hours per semester. Okay. Now, what they don't cover is the tuition fees, and this is what this act is covering: is the fees. The fees cover half of the cost of what the tuition is. At NSU, it's $116 per credit hour. Well, their fees are $50. Okay, so that would say a 3-hour course, that'd be about $150. Okay, and the thing is this act will, one, it'll benefit the Cherokee student that is getting ahead, and these are students that we need to focus on, because these are students most likely are going to achieve. Okay, they're already ahead of the game and very studious, optimistic. They're wanting to go to college, and everything. So the investment's there. No, what the sad part is that these students cannot get financial aid for these fees. They can't take out student loans for these fees. Okay, and so they cannot afford to go to school. So it's almost like a punishment to them of them trying to get ahead of the game. And so what I'm proposing is that us as a nation's tribe is that we help these kids that are trying to get ahead and fund them on those fees. Now, in y'all's report, you guys see that the fees fluctuate from different colleges, whether it be private or public. OSU sees $93 a credit hour. NSU's $37 per credit hour. Okay, and like I said, Oklahoma Regents pays full tuition. So if we're knocking this out on the front end and paying for our kids to go to college, okay, it's going to save us money on the back end. Because right now we're paying about $4,000 per year for a Cherokee student to go to college. Okay, and that's if that's according if they meet the financial guidelines. Okay? Now, so the investment part is there. You know, one is we're rewarding Cherokee students and we're saving money on the back end of this. I myself and Counselor Coates, Corey Bunch, Simmons, Jennifer, we all met last week, and we tried to rationalize the policy on how we administer this act. And you know, in the first act, I put $70 per credit hour. Okay, that'd be enough. I put a little extra in there so we could fund maybe a book. Okay, because books are, you know, $200 to $300 a piece. And so what we designed to do is, instead of $70 per credit hour, it'd be $150 if you're taking 6 hours or less, or $300 if it's 6 hours or more. Counselor Coates, I don't think that's enough. I think we need to bump it up to 200. Yes, sir.
But you refer to a map in the act and also talk about the fee structure. I don't have any of
It's
that
in this that
information.
should be going
sorry.
around.
I started talking. Here you go. Oh, you
Okay.
got that. Sorry about that, Jack.
Okay. Thank you.
Now, Counselor Coates, just for clarification, our higher education scholarship, does it cover the whole United States, or does it cover just this area?
Our higher education scholarships cover the entire United States for the most part. I think it would be better to address these kinds of questions to the Director of Higher Ed and of Education Services who are here. But to my understanding, that is correct. They
Okay.
cover the entire United States, yes.
So, is that a pretty clear of what the act's about? And you guys fire away any questions that you like at me. And I'd like to move for its approval.
Second with the friendly that I be added as a co-sponsor.
Okay. Counselor Baker?
Yes. You keep saying that it refers to the entire United States, just the map does not. The map is the 14 county area plus contiguous counties. So,
We refer that to Mr. Bunch.
Yes, and the map that's attached is consistent with our current higher education policies. And that's the reason it's included, because when he referred to the program, developing the program, a while back it was passed in this body that we would bring forth any major changes in our programming to you guys to approve first. So that's what we were talking about, is when we do develop this program further and specifically, we would also be running it by you guys again, including the amounts that were to be funded, the coverage area, the eligibility, all those sorts of things, because the Act does not include all those specifics.
because I would like to propose that instead of saying the map attached or the Cherokee Nation Scholarship Program Service Area, that actually it says it's benefit Cherokee High School students, then strike residing all the way through, see attached map. It's benefit Cherokee High School students who are currently enrolled in an accredited public or private institution of higher learning. If the intent, as you said, was to cover the entire United States.
Well, that's prior from our meeting last week. I was on the understanding that the higher education scholarships go to the whole United States.
Some of them do, yeah.
It depends on their eligibility on financial need off the FAFSA form, and also these high school juniors and seniors aren't eligible for federal aid like that, so they don't complete the FAFSA information. So it would be kind of hard for us to separate those, and we would kind of be setting them up to leave our program after they may have been funded for a year or two in high school. We may have to drop them because they wouldn't later on be eligible. So that was part of the thinking, and limiting it to the current contiguous map.
Well,
So the understanding, that it does not include the entire United States, but only the
This
Cherokee
area right
Nation
here.
and
Only
the
this.
adjacent counties.
all right, well,
This act.
okay, I apologize about that. I was under, from last week's meeting, I was under the understanding that we provide scholarships to the whole United States.
Yes.
I
That-
apologize about that. So is this area right here to the attached map?
Just to clarify, we do provide scholarships to some students all across the United States, depending on their eligibility on where they fall on financial need and such. So that part is true.
Okay.
This, like I said, referring back to, we didn't want to set the students up for having to be taking off of our current program and having to drop them midway through their college career, or partially way.
If I may,
Yeah,
my recollection of the conversation was exactly that it would be limited to the 14 counties and to the contiguous area that is just outside the border. I think it's a 2-mile area, is that correct?
It's just contiguous counties.
Contiguous counties then, or
Contiguous
whatever,
counties.
but that would be the limitation for this particular act, even though, yes, there are some provisions by which our higher ed scholarships are awarded to those outside the boundaries. But to simply open this up to anybody who qualified for this, who might be outside of the boundaries, would open it up to people who wouldn't necessarily qualify past the high school time period, and that would be the problem. And so it was my understanding that was the reason for limiting it to the Cherokee Nation jurisdictional area.
Then I have another question on the map. Sebastian County with Fort Smith is not included, although you cross the river from Moffett and go into that. So I would say that would be a contiguous county.
Yeah.
And the Sequoia County,
Greg,
folks may want to
any comments on this map? Does this come?
weigh into that.
We talked about that.
Here's the map of it.
And UA Fort Smith, right?
Yeah.
Sebastian County is south of Crawford County, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Which is where Fort Smith is.
Right.
And you cross the river from Sequoia County.
It's contiguous to Square County.
Yes.
Okay, well, we can
And I also.
Certainly, I haven't heard that issue brought up before, but we'll definitely take a look at that. It makes perfect sense.
And I also see in Kansas, there's a little bit of Cherokee issue when you don't include the other counties.
Okay.
If you're going to include all the counties adjacent.
Okay.
you should
Make sure
include
they're
all.
all contiguous then.
And I do
Okay.
specifically recall a discussion about UA Fort Smith being, you know,
Pardon?
a place where people out of Sequoia County in particular attend.
I don't know.
Yeah, we'll take a look at that. I'm
I
not,
don't really care that if we should be.
first time that's came up with me, so.
Okay. So for clarification, it is the map right here. And I'll, sorry refrain from saying United States. This is the attached map. Thank you.
Is that it, Mr. Baker?
Well, other than I think that Sebastian County should be included as part of the
Okay.
map.
Do you want to, I mean, do we need to have that as a friendly amendment, or?
Well,
Do
it
we
shouldn't be,
separate
I don't think
the
it
boundary
should,
map?
I don't think it should be part of the act, but other than the fact that the map should be
The
correct.
map needs to be amended to include
Yeah,
all
let's-
adjacent counties.
Yeah, let me take a look at the map more specifically, just to, you know, just to make perfectly clear that that's what it should be. I mean, it's just a map. I'm not sure even who created this map, so.
Okay.
Could be right, could be wrong, but I'd like to make for sure that that is correct.
Okay.
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 Then, if this should pass before it goes at full council, I would like a revised map
Okay. We can get that.
on that.
Counselor Watts?
I would just like to be added if Councilman Walking Stick would allow me as a co-sponsor. Thank you for the work.
Counselor Hoskins?
Oh, I just wanted to express appreciation for Councilor Walking-Stick's leadership on this, and I think it's a good idea. It's a really good investment, and I think that limiting it to these 14 counties is just the only way it's workable right now, but you know, maybe we can take another look at it down the road. But anyway, I appreciate that, fully support it. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Counselor Thornton?
On the Sebastian County side of it, would this include Arcoma?
No, I can't,
On the 2-mile radius?
very well could. I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to on the map.
Look at Moffett. You see Moffett? Right in the
Well,
southeast corner?
this map's pretty small.
Okay. Arcoma's just below that.
It's just under
But we'll,
I want to be added to this.
Arcoma, I see it barely.
Yeah.
It should, if Sebastian County is covered,
It should be.
then this Arcoma will be covered as well.
Okay.
Like I said, I'd like to make exact, for sure that
I'd like to
Sebastian
yield
County is
to Chuck.
supposed to be
I
on.
think he said
I was just going to say that. Sorry, Madam Chairman.
No, absolutely.
The 2-mile radius has to do with a different program altogether. When it comes to the scholarship program, it's the contiguous counties. So just to be clear, that it seems like Arcoma would be included if Sebastian County is included. And I assume there's some map you guys have been operating on for years and years that is the official map. and
Okay,
you'll
yes,
replace
we
it.
will definitely take a look at that.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Counselor Garvin?
Yes, I'd like to be added as a sponsor of this, if it's all right.
Sure.
Councilman Walker.
Yeah, definitely.
Are there other questions or comments? Counselor Jordan?
Originally, I thought it was a sponsor, but
Yeah.
I would like to be added as a sponsor.
Is there anyone who does not want to be added as a sponsor? Let's throw that out, throw it out there this way. Shall we all sponsor unanimously then? Is that what this is? Okay. We shall do that if Counselor Walking Stick is agreeable.
Yes, definitely. Appreciate you guys.
It's okay. One other thing on the map, we will also just list it out by county. That way there's no confusion. You can either read it or view it on the map.
I'd like to add, and if you will correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe one of the statements that came out of the meeting the other day is that this has the potential to save us about 2/3 approximately on the scholarships that we are presently handing out at the Cherokee Nation, because we are loading them up with credits on the front end of that scholarship, or previous to those
That's correct.
higher ed scholarships being offered, which is a tremendous savings that this program potentially can offer.
We believe there are several benefits, and again, very thankful for the act and the thought that went into it. We also believe that it will help college students in regards to not dropping out their first year. They'll be a little bit more comfortable, they'll have some hours completed, and maybe they'll stay in school and graduate at a higher rate.
Yeah, and also, I'd just like to just thank the education department, group leaders, and Counselor Coates just for meeting and just to coming together and just coming up with policy and what this is going to look like to administer this program. And this won't actually go into effect till next fall. And leading up to it, I think we're going to need approximately $200,000 to $250,000 to start this program. And last year's freshmen coming in, there was 180 Cherokee freshmen that had college credit hours. So we had about 180 kids that came in that are concurrently enrolled. So we can work with that, and we also work with Kim. What's Kim's last name?
Gilliland. Gilliland?
Yeah,
Cherokee Nation
Gilliland.
Foundation.
And she had approximately about 150. About
Maybe 200 or so
yeah,
that
maybe
applied.
200. So we can look. We can estimate we'll have 300 plus Cherokee kids that will be interested in this in the upcoming fall, and we can probably guesstimate probably $600 to $800 per kid. So it's roughly $200,000 that we'll need for startup. So, and also, this will give the education department an opportunity to advertise this into the schools that this will be effective. Anyway, that's all.
Councilor Baker.
Well, to become effective the fall semester of 2012, then I think it needs to say that, because otherwise it says it becomes effective immediately.
You're offering that as a friendly amendment?
Yes.
Yes.
Accepting that?
Yeah, first strike the
Strike the emergency clause, I guess.
clause.
Okay. Strike the emergency clause. Are there other questions or comments here? Further discussion? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote on this then. All those in favor of this legislation signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? By acclamation. A wonderful thing in these times. Thank you. Okay. Are there any announcements? Our next meeting then is on Monday, November 14th at 3 p.m. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.